and today we'll learn about the history of handguns. We've all seen handguns in movies, the news, and in person on a police officer. Contrary to the popular stereotype that all Americans are gun owners, currently only about 36% of households have a gun, with gun ownership rates on the decline in recent years. However, guns are still extremely popular, with 3% of households owning 25 or more guns. Let's take a look back into the history of handguns and see how handguns became as popular as they are today. The firearm was invented in China during the 13th century. This invention later found its way to the Middle East, Africa, and Europe. It was in Europe in the 16th century that the word pistol was introduced. The word pistol comes from the French word pistolet, which comes from the Czech word pistola. A pistola was a type of hand cannon used during the Hussite War of the 1420s. The single-shot pistol was the first popular type of pistol. They were popular during the era of musket weaponry, where the pistol was loaded with a lead ball and fired with a flint striker. Revolvers were the next widely adopted type of pistol. Revolvers were invented during the 19th century, and they marked a turning point in the practicality of handguns. They have a rotating cylinder filled with cartridges. Each cartridge is held in its own ignition chamber. The ignition chamber is brought into alignment with the barrel by an indexing mechanism linked to the hammer or the trigger. There are two common types of action design: single action, meaning the hammer needs to be cocked back before the trigger can be pulled, and double action, meaning the cylinder will rotate and the hammer will strike when the trigger is pulled. This allows you to bypass cocking the hammer back manually. Next came the semi-automatic pistol. The first semi-automatic pistol was the Schomburger Lawman. However, they wouldn't gain commercial success until 1894 with the Hugo Borchardt designed C93. The next big advancement wouldn't come until 1896 with a gun by Paul Mauser named the C96. The C96 held 10 to 20 rounds and marked the first commercial success for a large capacity pistol. The C96 went on to be one of the first semi-automatic pistols to be used extensively in battle, and it was popular in the South African War from 1899 to 1902. At the same time, John Browning produced his first successful design, the M1900. He went to Fabrique Nationale with the design, and they began production, eventually producing 700,000 units. The next big hit for Browning was his design of the Colt 1911, which, as its name indicates, was produced in 1911. The 1911 immediately became the United States Armed Forces standard issue sidearm. It would serve this role until 1986, seeing action in World War I and II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. Over 2.7 million 1911s were produced for the Army alone. To this day, the 1911 remains a popular design. As the South African War drew to an end in 1902, George Luger produced the P08 in 9mm Parabellum. And the P08 was adopted by the German military and used in World War I. The Germans later upgraded to the Walther P38 for World War II, as it could be carried without the fear of a misfire due to upgraded safety features. And when World War II drew to an end, most nations adopted a semi-automatic pistol in 9mm Parabellum. Some other notable handguns are the CZ75, which I have here with me today, and the Beretta 92, which were both launched in 1975, as well as the Glock 17, which was produced in 1982, and in the early 1990s, Heckler & Koch came out with the HK USP. The semi-automatic pistol has become the nearly universal choice of pistol since World War II. However, revolvers are still popular for self-defense, plinking, and target practice. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you learned something new today, please share it with a friend. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe below for weekly content.